now here is the third and final video you'll see this little pin featured in. We are going to do the flaxen mane to this little chestnut or liver chestnut, whichever you prefer. Could be either, really. I was aiming for liver, but it could also be chestnut. Anyway, so on to the flaxen mane. I'm going to start with a medium gray. It's a very warm gray, almost like a yellowish gray. And that's going to be pretty much our darkest color. We may have to go in later with a little darker, but I don't want to go too dark, so we'll start with this and see how that goes. And I am pretty much going to cover the majority of it, especially getting into the crevices where the shadows are going to be. So you don't have to be too specific just yet, just kind of get the base down. So I'm kind of experimenting here because these are newer paints, so I'm just kind of playing around with the colors that I have, and we'll see where this goes. So this is not, 100%, the way I do it every time, because it really depends on my reference. So this is how I'm doing it this time, and hopefully it will work out. The methods and stuff are pretty much the same, it's just the colors that I'm playing around with. So as long as you have similar looking colors to what I'm using, you can do that. It does not have to be these exact paints, these exact colors, as long as it's close and a similar thing. Because there is no right or wrong way to do this. It is what you like to do, what you are comfortable with, and how you get the results that you want. This was just a starting point for you. And a look inside of how I kind of do things. This is actually a pretty nice color. I haven't used this yet. It's really nice. Oops. Went a little overboard there. Let's do it again. There we go. I just went a little over with the paint and just had to fix that. I just got it all over his nose too. How did I do that? That's another good thing about sealing your layers too. I don't have to worry about picking up any of that body color that I've already done. And there goes a paintbrush. And I'm sticking my fingers in it. This is where the disaster comes in. So yeah, I decided to do the whole area in this medium gray first. But as long as you get in those crevices, you're good. This is just, make sure you cover the areas you definitely need to cover. Now I need a smaller brush so I can get in those detail areas. I actually like that this is a pin because it gives me something to hold in the back. Yet I still managed to stick my fingers in it somehow. Trying to brighten this up so you can see what I'm doing. For some reason the lighting keeps going in and out on the camera. Very weird. Yeah, I'm also making the little details here at the end, little flyaways. Keeps it realistic. And it keeps the sculpture kind of flowing. Just thin paint and a pointy brush. You have to choose your flyaways carefully, because if you do them very randomly and too much, it almost looks like they are mistakes. So just think of what the hair is actually doing and how it's flowing, and that should help you determine where to put some of the flyaways. So previously I didn't realize how oddly sculpted this was from being flat. I'm gonna have to take, I don't know if you can see this, but it kind of goes up and around like it should, but is almost too high of a point in between the ears, and it would look very weird if I painted that with the hair and up and over to the back like that. So there's a small part I think I'm gonna have to carve out before it starts, before it looks like it actually connects. So I'm gonna go do that and I'll be back. And the next color up, we are going to do a silver gray. It's not actually metallic, it's just called silver gray. It's a very, very light gray, very light, warm gray. So any light, warm gray will do. Oh yeah, so I went back and carved out that little section, that extra section between the ears, and made it more proper so it actually looks as though the hair is going through the ears, as opposed to some random notch in between them. So here we go with the silver gray, or very light gray. And you just want to get the higher points on here. This is going to lighten it up a little bit. It's okay if you go into the crevices. We can always come back and blend those in later. We're just going in with a very thin layer here. Okay, so that's the basic blocking in with this brush. Sometimes it's good to have a cruddy little brush like this with frayed edges because it gives you more of a hairy type look when you're doing this sort of thing. But I'm now going to go in with a thinner brush and kind of detail it a little bit. Bring out some of the proper points here. As soon as I get this part in here. Nope, don't like that. Just trying to blend some of these flyaways in here so it doesn't look like it's the dark undercolor only, and then you have this light thing coming on top of it. There, so there's that layer there. Now, for my taste, this is a little too gray and still not defined enough, but if you're happy with it, feel free to leave it the way it is. Again, this is just how I'm doing it to my taste right now. You don't have to do every single thing I'm doing here. You don't have to use every single color I'm using here. Just use something close and go as far as you like. Just whatever you like. There is no right or wrong way. So, since for my taste here, this is a little too grayish for me, I'm going to take a tan earth, which is a yellowish, brownish, tannish, sandy color here. And I'm going to go in those darker areas again, like how we did with the medium gray, but not so much. I mean, I think I'm going to end up blending the two together, the medium gray and the yellow, because it might, in the tan, because it might end up being a little too yellowy. We'll see how it goes when we hit the hair here. Yeah, see, that's actually a lot yellower than I expected. So now I'm going to go in with the medium gray and blend that with it. And then back up with the silver gray. Just adding some streaks of color so it's not so gray. And again, like I said before in one of the earlier videos on this pin, for medallions and flat things like this, it helps a lot if you think of it as a painting or a piece of flat work where your shadows and highlights would fall, because it's much different than painting a model, which is a whole three-dimensional piece. Even the sculpting style is sculpted to be more of a flat sort of illusion. That gives the illusion of a three-dimensional piece, but it's actually more flat than, you know, an actual model. So if you think of it like a painting, like a flat painting, it actually helps sometimes with determining where those shadows and where those highlights go, because they don't always necessarily fall where they should naturally, as a guide on a flatter piece like this. Seems to have a hair in the paint. So now what I'm going to do is actually darken up those really dark areas a little bit, because it's still kind of not contrasty enough for me. So I'm going to go in with a chestnut, which is just basically a dark brown, and get those really dark crevices. Although I haven't done the forelock yet with the other color. Maybe I should do that first. Let's finish that up. So this is still doing the tan and the medium gray. And the silver gray on top of that. I just forgot I didn't do this section. Okay, so now I'm going to take that chestnut and really bump the contrast in some oh, I already put this on my palette. Oops. Bump the contrast in some parts, the deepest parts there. This may seem a little dramatic at first, but when you blend it, it should hopefully blend into its surroundings okay. And to blend it, you would just take that, you know, medium gray and beige and play around with it. Going in with that gray. Yeah, this is definitely what I needed here. Just a little refinement. There we go. Some nice contrast now. It's a nice contrast without being too stark or out of place. That's what you're looking for. Alright, I think I have that pretty much where I like it. As you can see, it takes a lot of back and forth with the three colors. Just take your time. So the final thing here, once I finish this up, I'm going to go in with a very light, almost white, but not pure white probably mix in a little bit, just a smidgen of that medium gray. Yeah, I'll mix just a very teensy tiny bit of the medium gray in with white to give it just a little bit of a tint. You don't really want pure white unless, you know, you're going for like a bluish hue. But that's going to be used just for the extreme highlights, like maybe glistening hairs or stuff. You don't want to go too crazy with that light of a color because the mane is not white or close to it. If you look at it, it's got many different colors, which is why we do a bunch of layers like this, so it looks like there's many different layers and many different colors. So I will go find that paint. Will this do? Here it is. Okay. So this is going to be white mixed with a very, very teensy tiny smidgen of a dab of that medium gray. And we're just going to do this for some extreme high parts, for some highlights. Gives it some even more contrast without going too dark or too light. Piece of hair in the paint again. Drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. There. So as you can see, I'm being very light with this. I'm not going crazy. I'm just trying to find some parts to define more. Give a little bit of a highlight to our already light mane. And there you have it, your flaxen mane with some nice detail, some nice depth. And there it is. So if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and share. It really helps my videos, helps me keep making these videos. And I'll see you next time. Happy painting!